Gary George, real cannabis entrepreneur in the building, baby, representing, and I'm here representing 40 Tons in the building. MJBiz 2023, ladies and gentlemen, it is off the hook, and I told you multiple times. The reason why they have built this, built like a jail cell, is because the ludicrousy of the fact that there's millions and billions of dollars being made at the same time. My brothers and sisters are sitting in the jail prisons right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I want to first off represent and showcase our sponsors, Custom Cones USA, Day Savers. Big up to them for making this happen. And I got some special guests for y'all, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to really get a kick out of this. St. Lucia's in the building, and we have the Honorable Minister of Commerce and the Honorable, I'm not going to mess up their titles, I'm going to let them tell you the rest. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce two fabulous individuals that came here all the way from St. Lucia, diplomatic and representing. I want you to introduce yourself, tell them your name and what it is that you do.
All right, my name is Norbert Inglis. I'm the Senior Legal Officer at the Ministry of Commerce, Manufacturing, Business Development, Cooperatives and Consumer Affairs. A very long title. And I'm here with the Honorable Minister from the Ministry in St. Lucia, and we are now allowing for the development of a cannabis industry in St. Lucia. So we have recently amended some legislation to facilitate expunging of records for individuals who had been convicted for cannabis possession.
Right.
We've also allowed for small-scale possession of cannabis, up to 30 grams of cannabis.
Nice.
And we also allow for small-scale cultivation, up to 4 plants in a household.
Right.
And all of that was a precursor to the development of a commercial industry, which we're now trying to put in place.
Right.
So Honorable Minister Hippolyte is the Minister of Responsibility for that project.
Right.
So we're here at MJBizCon just to get our feet wet, appreciate some of the players in the market, some of the individuals who have been part of the industry for some time, because there would have been a need for us to learn some lessons from them.
Right.
Circumnavigate the pitfalls that some of these persons would have subjected themselves to, and make sure we develop a regime that is best suited for us.
Absolutely, man. That was very well said. My people from St. Lucia, man, very well said. A whole lot going on over there. And I'm going to also get the Honorable Minister as well. And I just want you to let them know what your name is, your title, and all the good things that you want to share with us as well.
Thank you, Emma Hippolyte, Minister for Commerce, and all the rest of it from St. Lucia. And we are here, and I'm pleased to be here, because when I look at MJBiz, it's really an encyclopedia. Yes, walking the floor. And I'm also the Minister for Manufacturing. So as I look around, I look at business development, I look at opportunities for manufacturing, I look at the equipment, I look at the products. And for me, the first thing that caught my eye is the size of the industry. And being here really gave me that information. And as I look around and I sit in this prison cell, you make it real, and your 40 ton?
Yeah, 40 ton.
40 ton. I want to thank the organizers for this. And what I want to really say is, you are correct, persons should not be in prison for plants.
Yes.
And as policymakers, we need to look at where we were,
Right.
based on knowledge, and where we are going, where we are now and where we are going,
Yes.
and to ensure that we improve the lives of people.
Right.
So the decisions we make must improve lives.
Absolutely.
So I really hope that we are doing this in St. Lucia. Dylan have told you what we've done as a government, and we continue. What we're doing now is to continue to ensure that the users, the Rastafarian movement, and persons who have used cannabis in the past, now we're trying to turn it into an industry that they can benefit from it.
Right.
So I'm hoping your government can do the same, and those persons who have been penalized will have an opportunity to get their lives improved.
Right. That is excellent, man.
And I wrote a special letter to Kevin. Yes, I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Yes, because that is our initiative, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know, this whole initiative behind 40 Tons of what we're doing here is also to get 10,000 postcards to our brothers and sisters that are locked up, so that they know that we haven't forgotten about them, that we understand the pain and the suffering that you're going through right now, sitting here watching us do this while you're locked up for the same damn thing, man. So we're doing 10,000 postcards. We've been getting everybody to send out postcards to all of the people there, man. Big up to 40 Tons making that happen. And I want to talk a little bit more, because Dylan, you told me some very interesting piece of information that I've never heard about, the DREAD Act. And I want you to elaborate on what the DREAD Act is.
So in the years past, it's important for us to appreciate that the restrictions on cannabis didn't just happen in the US.
Right.
So there was a purveyance of this belief and this taboo nature to cannabis and the view that it was a negative plant. And that went throughout the world.
Right.
And the Rastafarian community in the Caribbean who use it as a sacrament fell negatively impacted by that.
Right.
So you find that in a lot of the islands there was that negative view of the Rastafarian community, and that happened in a lot of the OECS islands, St. Lucia, where we are from, St. Vincent, Grenada, and even in Dominica, where they looked very negatively at the Rastafarian community who were partaking in this sacrament of theirs.
Right.
And you had in Dominica, for example, legislation that was passed against these persons. In St. Lucia, you had people who had to go into the hills because they were not seen as part of the community because they involved themselves in the plant. And we wanted to ensure, even in development of our legislation in St. Lucia, and we saw it happen in St. Vincent, where they were able to segue persons who had been involved in the industry prior to the front of the line. So in St. Vincent, we saw the creation of what's called a traditional cultivation license.
Yeah.
So the people who had been part of the industry prior to the legalization were given an opportunity to be at the front of the line when licenses were given for cultivation. It's something that we are looking at doing in St. Lucia as well. And it's something that we're hoping that the other islands, Antigua, Dominica, will also look at. So the persons who were negatively impacted, who had been ostracized, who had been their families torn apart, gone to prison, subjected to so many things, now have an opportunity to benefit from the industry, which we understand in some areas is being said to be a multi-billion-dollar industry, but if you take into account the illicit industry, it's $1 trillion industry.
Absolutely.
And these persons have a right, to my mind, to benefit from that industry as well.
Absolutely.
And not just to benefit from it with the crumbs of it, but to be put at the forefront of it, because they are the ones who really suffered because of it.
Yeah, big up to y'all, man. Big up to them, St. Lucia, putting them in front, and they're setting a whole new standard for the rest of the other Caribbean islands and out there, man. And big up to y'all for being one of the first ones that's taking those steps to decriminalize and show other individuals that what really needs to happen. I want to ask you another question. Do you think anyone should be locked up for a plant?
Thank you. I think I said it earlier, but no. But the first thing is, I think we need to get a lot more knowledge about the plants. And I think that is the issue. We have to do a lot more research because based on tradition, there is significant medicinal value in the plants. And that, I think, is what we need to do, and educate. Educate instead of putting people in prison. Educate people about the plant so that the stigma is removed. That's what we need to do.
Absolutely. It's all about the education, ladies and gentlemen, as we always do, and you see me doing consistently, educating everybody, because the more that people have the education, the less the stigma will continue to stick around, man. So big up to 40 Tons for making this happen. Big up to MjBiz. MjBiz is in the house till 2023. And the last question I have for you all are absorbing this, and I want to know a little bit about the legislation that you're putting in place, and how far have you gotten with it? When do you perceive that you may be in a position to have some operators operating in St. Lucia? Have you gotten even that far yet? I know it's at the very beginning, but I'm just going to say, tell me a little bit about that, Dylan.
Okay, so we have, as I said, we passed initial legislation to allow for a small-scale possession, cultivation, and to expunge records of individuals who had had convictions for cannabis.
Right.
We only last week, the minister presented before the Parliament of St. Lucia the bill to create the regulatory authority for cannabis, for regulated substances, including cannabis.
Yes.
So we're in the process now of developing the legislation specific to cannabis, the licensing regime, the standards for the industry, the guidelines and regulations for the industry. So we're hoping within the coming months we'll have some stakeholder engagement, because we want to ensure that the persons who are going to be part of the industry have a voice in what is being created. So that should be happening within the coming months.
Right.
The regulatory authority has already been passed, and we expect them to be engaged with the public as well to understand what we really want to have as our industry.
Right.
Because it's not a one-size-fits-all. What may work in one jurisdiction, what may work in one state, will not necessarily work in our context.
Right.
So there is an intention to have, not to reinvent the wheel, but to have somewhat of a bespoke approach to ensure that this works for us.
Yeah.
Because we have our own unique areas that we want to make sure we touch and concern. So beyond that, within the next year or so, we expect the legislation for cannabis to have been enacted. and have licensees cultivating, manufacturing, and dispensing cannabis.
That is so exciting, ladies and gentlemen. That is so exciting. Did y'all hear what Dylan just said? Did you hear what the Honorable Minister just said? It could be a few years already. They're working on this process to make it happen, and they're forerunners in the space for the Caribbean islands and setting some rules and other things in place that people can follow, man. So this is very important. That's the reason why I wanted to bring them on. I'm going to sign out, guys. Again, this is Gary George, Real Cannabis Entrepreneur. We're here with 40 Tons, MJBiz 2023, doing it big. Holla back. We'll see y'all. Peace.
Day Savers is super excited to announce the partnership with 40 Tons on the 40 Tons Cones for a Cause edition, where 10% of proceeds go to the 40 Tons Foundation. This is on top of our existing Cones for a Cause charity line of cones, which started with the USA tipped cones, which go to veterans cannabis-related charities, as well as the rainbow tipped flag cones, which go to LGBTQ pride-related charity. Each pack of the Cones for a Cause come with 3 109 millimeter king-size cones, and is with all Day Savers products. These are all carefully tested for heavy metals, pesticides, and microbials. If you're a retailer already carrying 40 Tons products, you're definitely going to want to carry the 40 Tons Cones for a Cause edition to sell to your consumers, as well as the USA Veterans editions, as well as the Rainbow Pride Tip edition. If you have any questions, these are all available for sale on daysavers.com. Please call or email us with any needs that you have.